Good morning. Welcome to the Women in Leadership, Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather. Together, we are working to connect women in leadership and business to build relationships and to empower each other, improving the health and wellness of our community, body, mind, and soul.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We're so excited to be able to be with you today. We've got a very special ready for you. Today's special episode, we're discussing hope, faith, and stories.
So excited. I'm so excited that we could be here today, that we hope that you're having a great holiday season and that you're enjoying time with your families. And we thought a great discussion about the power of hope, faith, and story, and the power that stories hold would be a great way to start off the day for us.
Right. Absolutely. And the power of hope, faith, and stories. I mean, we have hope and faith because of the stories and the traditions that have been brought through our families for forever, right?
Stories were, before books, you would pass the stories down in your families. And when you gather with your families, you're telling the stories of when you were young to your kids, and it creates that bond and those atmospheres
and traditions. It creates traditions, right? The story of Saint Nicholas is a really interesting way that, and it's a story. It is like a folk tale, and the Saint Nicholas was a real person, and his story has lived on in the magic of Christmas because of the things he did in his real life. He created like a folk tale kind of story around him, very much like Johnny Appleseed. Same kind of, Paul Bunyan folk tales, right? Larger than life. But the stories of St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, have become a tradition in many, many families. And so that's how traditions start, is with this hope and faith kind of stories.
And hope helps you to stay calm and peaceful when something is less than desirable is happening. Hope believes you, it helps you to get through.
Right.
So when you're having the hope, you're able to process that there's, you're not going to stay in that yucky spot forever.
Right. And hope remembers the times you made it through. So, we've all been through a lot of things in our lives. I know for sure both Heather and I have, and it's because of those things that we went through, and the hope we had to carry us through that. And we want to be able to share that hope and joy and faith with you.
Hope teams up with faith and belief to make things that seem impossible possible.
It's like, what is an example of something that, what is an example of that, where hope teams with faith and belief in the impossible and maybe the outcome of that?
Well, I know, like for my teenager, it feels impossible to make it through the day at school, right? But when we imply the hope at home of, we're going to get video games, or we're having a particular meal that night, it creates that hope at the end of the day that there's something to look forward to, right?
And that's just the little things.
And that's just like the little things,
right?
Definitely.
That little bit of hope, that little bit of faith. You go to bed at night with the hope and faith that you will wake up the next morning.
Right.
So, you have hope and faith that you will wake up the next morning, that your family will be, home every day, or whatever the case may be. Hope and faith plays into a lot of the choices we make and a lot of the ways that we react to the environment around us.
Do you remember when the babies were little and you would just sit up with them all night and watch them breathe? they had to prove to us that they were going to wake up every day. Like,
Mhm.
you know, like I didn't just hope and pray for it. Like I was checking on that little one, make sure everything's
Right.
good. Everything's
And
good.
we also have trauma around that, right?
Right.
And we know people who have had trauma around that, where they went to go wake somebody up and
They didn't.
they didn't wake up.
And unfortunately, babies
Mhm.
and all ages.
All
Is
ages.
how we know people that have been affected by that particular moment
Mhm.
to have to be that one.
Yes.
So if you stayed in that moment all the time, that would be a really scary place to be.
Right. Right. So then the people that I know that have been through that, it still deeply affects them. And the children that they have had since, they still wake up, periodically throughout the night, make sure their kids are still breathing or whatever, and it doesn't matter if they're still little or if they've gotten much bigger, we still check on our kids every night.
Well, and
And
especially this time of year, because sometimes there's that magical moment where, your big kids are sleeping on your couch and you get to see them sleeping again and you haven't seen them sleeping in so long.
oh, it's so
you
sweet
know?
when your big kids are passed out.
You're just like,
Oh,
oh,
it reminds you of when they were little.
right, when they're cute and tiny and sleeping and sweet.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, they're still pretty sweet. when
this
they're
time of
teeny.
year when you're gathering with your families, right? Like you can create hope for them by sharing different stories
Mhm.
about where you've been or where, seeing where they are
Mhm.
and holding the hope and faith for someone when they're having a hard time.
Mhm.
That's another way it could be used.
Yeah, and stories are the string of hope and faith we string together to create a narrative for how things have gone or will go because of our experiences. Our experience is that we wake up every day until we don't,
Right.
right? Our experience is that my husband leaves for work and comes back.
Right.
My experience is one thing. So it kind of builds that expectation. And then, I have the hope and faith that that will continue happening.
So having kids that are on the spectrum,
Yes.
I've had to really create what is the experience going to be like. So
Mhm.
I noticed that the first time we would go do something special, if we went back and did that same thing, we were looking for the exact same experience.
Mhm.
And learning that like makes it hard when you want to be more spontaneous,
Mhm.
but learning that's kind of what we do with the holidays. There's an experience expectation, right? That you want to create
Mhm.
and that you're having. And so collectively we have extra hope and extra faith that in this creation of the holiday energy.
Right. And, getting together with your family and things like that, you hold a certain level of expectation, right? Your family expects certain things of you. However, there's a fine line between that good expectation and then also what else comes out of that. Are you putting the right kind of energy into it? Are you
So are the stories from your past giving you the right information for the story that's unfolding before you
right?
in the right now? So sometimes because having faith is what helps you overcome stress, anxiety, and fear.
Uh-huh.
If your faith in the situation is a negative outcome,
Mhm.
you're actually
Self-prophesizing
that
that,
to come to term, right?
right?
Instead of focusing on the good things, you're focused on the bad things.
Right. And you're going to look for those negative aspects, and you have to retrain your brain to expect the positive things, because that's when the positive things, you'll see it more.
Right.
Your eyes are more open to it. Not that they'll happen more often, but you have a better vision of what that looks like. Dr. Martin Luther King says, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. You don't know what's going to happen next.
I love that. Because I
Right?
feel like that's our whole journey.
Yeah.
Right?
And we don't know what the future holds for us. And the uncertainty of that often brings us fear. I would like you to reframe your thought process as if what would be the best outcome of a situation versus what is like the worst possible thing that could happen. And listening to your own faith, your own belief, and the stories that you tell yourself. Make sure you're filling your thought processes, connecting those synapses in your brain with positive thoughts, positive processes, positive outcomes.
So one tool to help with my anxiety would be like when my son would leave for the weekends and I would have this time to myself, I would have to really imagine what it would be look like for him to come home.
Mhm.
Because then if I focused on that, I wouldn't focus on the fact that he was gone.
Mhm.
So I have faith that he was going to come home, and that gives me the power to get through, the next little bit of time. So imagining the other side and how we get to the other side.
Mhm.
Sometimes the path is different, right? Than we know.
Yeah. And then
So-
sometimes we put labels on things that shouldn't have labels. Like maybe you have a difficult family member. Okay, we all have at least one, right? We all have at
They were
least
born
one.
that way, right? Likes to argue.
You guys just don't see things the same way, whatever the case may be. What is the story that you keep telling yourself about that person that or that certain situations or topics even that are going to separate you instead of bring you together? So let's talk about labels for a minute. Okay, labels are not necessarily a good thing. They can be, but very often they're not. Okay, you are not the labels put upon you. You are a divine spirit. Everybody has the divine spirit within them. Whatever belief you structure you have, whatever religion you have, says basically the same thing, right? Divine inner light of awareness. The Holy Spirit, whatever words you have for that, everybody has that in them. Okay. So you are not the labels that people have created for you. It's time to remove all the labels that were unfairly and unkindly placed upon you. Think about all those negative things you tell yourself.
And sometimes it's like your understanding of how the situation unfolded created a scenario in your head.
Right.
So like I had a brain injury as a child. And so I got really good at just getting through school by memorizing things, not actually reading. And they didn't figure that out until I was in 5th grade. And then I learned to really read in 5th grade again because of the brain injury. And the story I kept telling myself is that I wasn't smart because I had to learn. So that was a story that stuck with me for a very, very, very long time. So I didn't think that I could show up in an intelligent way because I felt like I wasn't smart.
Right. But in reality is you have an endless amount of potential waiting inside of you. You have an endless amount of potential waiting inside of you. Okay.
Yes.
We all do. You. Okay. It's time that you lift off the words that are untrue and start labeling yourself with confident, incredible, stunning, capable, wonderful,
Worthy,
worthy,
loved,
mm-hmm.
valid,
Mm-hmm.
smart,
Incredible,
incredible,
empowered, powerful, strong, beautiful. I want you to hear these words. These are the right kind of labels. Okay. Make sure when you label things, you label them correctly. Label yourself correctly as worthy, strong, intelligent, empowered.
if I wouldn't say it to my child, I need to not say it to myself.
Right.
Because whatever I think that I'm conveying to my children, they hear what we are saying to ourselves in our actions.
And oftentimes the things that we believe about ourselves to be true that are not true, those self-limiting beliefs, which we will talk about in just a minute, we carry that stuff with us. So, I have had to retrain myself to speak words of truth and of goodness to my kids. And sometimes I get angry and sometimes I get frustrated, and I'm not perfect. And
we're still human,
right? We're still human. We're working on it.
Experience,
but
right?
Also being able to admit your mistakes when you're wrong and go back to somebody and be like, hey, that label I gave you,
I'm sorry,
that was on me.
Know that I was doing that, or I didn't mean to do that, and I hope that you don't take offense to it.
Yeah. So reframe your mindset and really pay attention to the energy that you're putting out into the world, because it affects how you think as well. If you think negatively and all that stuff, you're like, woe is me, the world's gonna end, all hell's gonna break loose, whatever the case may be, that's going to happen. Yes, poor Eeyore. If you are Eeyore, try to be a little bit more like Piglet. Right? Okay. So anyway, let's talk and that leads us right into those self-limiting beliefs, right? Self-limiting beliefs are developed as a response to painful experiences or trauma growing up. Again, many things that somebody that we loved and respected, whether a parent, a teacher, a grandparent, that has hurt us, has put those self-limiting beliefs on us. The feelings of you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. Somebody else labeled you that way.
Not worthy, not valid, not lovable.
Unlovable, unloved, right? Yeah. You are loved. You are lovable.
You are valid.
You are amazing. Okay, self-limiting beliefs. They're created as a survival mechanism, but serve as a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Okay. Self-limiting beliefs are created as a survival mechanism. You take on those beliefs because somebody you know and love and trusted told them to you, and you took it to heart because you want to protect yourself from somebody else thinking you're a fool or somebody else thinking you're stupid or whatever the case may be.
So basically you are putting yourself in a box.
You're putting
so if you are in the box, are you there because you want to be? Is this your box?
Do you belong in this box? Guess what? You don't belong in a box.
Get out of the box.
Right? Self-limiting beliefs are often subconsciously dictate how we behave and the choices we make.
Subconscious. So you're not even aware that these limiting beliefs are affecting your life.
Not even aware of it. It has taken me almost 40 years to figure out that I have a voice and I am valid, that I am beautiful, that I am strong.
Here.
Amen. Cheers
to that.
All right. Hot cider on our Christmas Eve morning. And also self-limiting beliefs, we tend to look for evidence to prove them right and dismiss the actual truth because it is so deeply ingrained with us. We look for validation in it.
Right.
we look for that to keep proving itself to be true, no matter how bad it makes us feel.
Right.
Okay, which is a lot of the reason why you, for myself anyway, dealing with depression. Right? Okay, depression is something I struggle with on a regular basis, and these self-limiting beliefs are a big part of that. As I learn and grow and work through those self-limiting beliefs, I have been able to learn how to restructure, reframe my mindset. And that leads us to the 8 steps of changing limiting
things
beliefs.
up.
Okay.
So now you know that you've been put in this box. What do you do?
Right.
Like,
Okay. 1, it's Christmas Eve. If you're in a box, you're a freaking gift.
Heck yeah.
Okay. You are a gift. Put yourself in a box, put a bow on you, lay under the tree, and remind everybody that you're a gift, because you are. Okay. 8 steps to change limiting beliefs. Number 1, change one belief at a time.
Yeah, don't try to change everything in your whole world.
Mhm.
It's not going to be a lasting change for you.
Yeah.
Just one at a time. Like as you learn about one, sometimes it sheds light on another one or another one.
Right. And it's a process in dealing with these self-limiting beliefs, because you do have to take the time, spend time in meditation or prayer or somewhere quiet, process it. Let your body go through the process, because you are going to grieve. Your body is holding on to that emotion. Get it moving in whatever way feels right to you. Some people, like runners, people who like distance run, that is their meditation. They are in it. Like they're focused.
Get in a zone.
Whatever gets you in your zone is your meditation, right? You can color. Adult coloring has really taken off. I love to color. I also meditate, do yoga and things like that. So getting yourself in the right headspace to process it. Okay. Number 2, ask yourself how it is impacting your life. Okay. During your meditation time. Ask yourself.
Often, if you're really facing a hard belief that's like core, like I'm not intelligent, even though I have an associate's degree, even though I have many certificates, I've gone to school for years and years and years, but I still didn't believe
that you were smart enough, because somebody somewhere
smart enough
made you believe that you were not smart enough, and you are. You're incredibly intelligent and gifted, and you're using those skills that you learned every day. You just didn't realize it. Right. Everybody's got a skill set. Let's let our people shine. Right.
Yes.
Number 3, ask yourself how much you believe it.
Do I really believe this to be true? Like, really? Like, show yourself. Show yourself how it's not true.
Look in the mirror. Spend some time looking in the mirror and tell yourself 5 things that you like about yourself. And if those self-limiting beliefs pop in, those negative truths come in, switch it up. Instead of saying, I'm not pretty enough, say to yourself, I am beautiful because I know I am.
And you can flip that, like if it's, something that you're working on, like, I am beautiful. Nothing fit that, because it doesn't change anything. So it's like my brain went, no, none of those fit.
You can also change it just something, turn these things into a mantra. I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am whole.
Nice.
Right? Tell yourself these 5 things in a positive light.
I'm growing. I'm learning. I'm implementing. So you're very progressive, and these things are happening right now.
Yes. Speak in the affirmative.
Not in the future, right now for you, happening. You are these things right now.
Number 4, ask yourself what's stopping you from changing that belief. What is, like, you're thinking all these positive things, but maybe you don't feel like it's changing that belief. Ask yourself what's stopping you. Are you feeding yourself negative self-images with the whatever you're watching on TV, whatever book you're reading?
Is it the news feed?
Yeah, is it your news feed? Is it your scrolling through Facebook? You guys know that everybody only puts their best self onto social media. Okay, we are as real and authentic as we are in real life, and on here, because we're having a conversation. Okay, but many times people put their best self out there on social media, and so you think the standard is up here, but then you look down here and not so much. Hold on just a second. Number 5, find ways to disprove the belief. So whatever that self-limiting belief is, find ways to prove it wrong. Okay, if your self-limiting belief is that I'm not pretty enough, I'm pretty sure that somebody has given you a compliment in the last week, right? Or maybe it's like a self-confidence thing, right? I'm not pretty enough. Well, you know what? Take a couple extra minutes for yourself to do the things that make you feel vibrant, alive, beautiful, whatever.
Is that getting your nails done?
Mhm,
Is that, putting more self-care into your time?
mhm,
Is that putting more creativeness into your time?
mhm.
Like, what is going to fuel you to show up as your beautiful self for yourself?
Right. So find ways to disprove whatever belief that is. If you don't feel smart, teach yourself something new. Okay, YouTube University, guys, find something that you want to do and learn how to do it, or find something that needs done and learn how to do it. Like maybe you need to clean out and service your dryer. Okay, there's YouTube videos for that. And you know what? When you get done with that, you feel like a badass. All right, because you accomplished it and you are a badass. Okay.
Snap a photo of yourself after you do the thing, and then put that up on your wall so you can see it every day and remind yourself that you're badass.
Okay, and this loops it back around to what we've been talking about. Number 6, choose a new belief and reframe it. Okay, that's exactly what we've been doing. Get out of the box.
Black hole and big.
Black hole big. So choose a new belief.
Yeah.
Reframe it into a positive for yourself. Number 7, ask yourself, how will this new belief have a positive impact? And I think that's a big one, because a positive outlook, a positive impact, it's virtually like the same.
Changing my belief system and realizing that the framework we use with my son uses as the mom, you have a big brain, like to remind me, also gives me more confidence when I'm working with him and helping him through situations, right?
Mhm.
So I'm showing up in a better way because I trust that I have the knowledge. I already am enough. I already have it. I'm already
Which
there.
is number 8, build a plan to anchor your new belief. Have a plan in place to anchor it. Put little sticky notes on your mirror or just write straight on the mirror, because
you're looking at it every day. Why not?
And dry erase markers, they
Write
come
on your
right off.
mirror. If you didn't know that, you can write on your mirror with them. Great way to like leave a message for family members or coworkers. Like, you're amazing. You got this. Things won't fall. It's okay.
All right. We have a little bit of meditation to do with you guys today. We are going to do a meditation called the Knots meditation. So both feet on the floor, breathe in and out through the nose. If you are driving, please keep your eyes open and remain safe, or pull over. Take a couple nice slow deep breaths into the nose and out through the mouth. Let the body relax and listen to the words. Untie the knots that are in my mind, my heart, and my life. Remove the have-nots, the can-nots, and the do-nots that I have in my mind. Erase the will-nots, may-nots, might-nots, the have that may find a home in my heart. Release me from the could-nots, would-nots, and should-nots that obstruct my life. And most of all, I ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all of the am-nots that I have allowed to hold me back, especially the thought that I am not good enough. Take a couple more nice, slow, deep breaths. Removing the negative energy, removing those negative labels. Reframe it
right into the quote.
It sure does. Go ahead and read this week's quote from Path of the Yoga Sutras. Our sutra topic this week is Ishvara Pranidhana, humility and faith.
Faith is an oasis in the heart, which can never be reached by the cavern of thinking. Kalal Gibran. Faith is the oasis in the heart, which can never be reached by the cavern of thinking. Caravan of thinking. I was thinking a big cave cavern. You can't go there. But even, and the caravan, like all those thoughts running around, they can't come down here. It's not how it works. It's pretty amazing.
Now the thoughts of the week is, no one owns knowledge. Okay, knowledge is not something that we own. Knowledge is something that we learn, that we take it, that we absorb. Okay, we can always find more knowledge. We can always get more knowledge, but it is seeking, but it is not owned by anybody.
It's a pretty cool concept to think about that one. Kind of made my brain go, huh? Yeah. Never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, and we all dip into the giant soup of universal intelligence. Okay, we've talked about this a few times. Universal intelligence, and universal intelligence, sometimes referred to as karma, right? What you put out in the world, you receive. And I've even heard it said that what you put out in the world, you receive tenfold. So, do you want to put negative energy, negativity, whatever that may look like, negative self-beliefs on somebody else? Or do you want to shed the positive, make your loved ones know that they are awesome, intelligent, and whole?
And coming from love for yourself, when you're filling yourself up with love in a way that you are seen for yourself, then that overflow,
you can show up better for others
too.
And that One of the things that we try to make sure that you guys understand every single podcast is, yes, this is a women in leadership and business podcast. We talk about real life, real deep stuff, healing generational trauma so that we can show up and be our best selves within our businesses, within our communities, and continue to lift and build each other up, because it is so important. We grew up in a world of limiting beliefs, limitations. Limitations are being put on us and our kids every single day. And we have to remind them that they can bust through that glass ceiling anytime.
Mhm.
You can bust through that glass ceiling.
You can.
You can, and you will. The next one, surrendering into the divine allows me to truly understand my relationship with it.
That's why you sit in the quiet.
Mhm. Quiet understanding of the self, right? You really get to know yourself more in those moments of quiet and stillness. And unfortunately, this is something we have to actively practice now.
Mhm.
And maybe your stillness and quiet isn't perfectly still and quiet, but take the moment like in your head to be still and quiet and focus on one thing. If you're doing the dishes, focus on the dishes. Other thoughts and things will come up, and think of yourself as the person watching the movie, right?
The mindfulness.
Right, the
around it.
mindfulness around making a meal for your family and what that means
That's
to
good.
you.
You don't see the person in the videos, like the mom on the show.
Mhm.
You don't see her doing anything other than the dishes and then making dinner. You don't see her doing all these things all at once.
Right.
Like she's calm and present.
Mhm.
We
So-
can be calm and present.
In the moment while we're still doing our stuff.
Yeah. That mindfulness can
But-
be learned.
Mhm. And take some time to detach yourself from things that distract you, like your phone.
Yeah. When was the last time you walked away from your phone for 10 minutes?
All right. This week's challenge, right? And then lastly, give credit for all that I accomplished only to my teachers and to the teachings themselves. We have learned and grown through a process, through experience. We have learned and grown from other people, from books we've read, from other things that have inspired us or really made us think. None of our knowing is our own. It has been brought to us in some form.
That's where we get the gratitude for grandma, for her teachings,
Mhm.
for, just finding that gratitude.
Mhm.
And
Which brings us right back around to traditions and hope and faith, because we have the hope and faith and traditions and the stories because, someone else went before us. Someone else already learned the things that we're learning, and we are being taught. Isaac Newton didn't come up with the theory of gravity. He just named it, right?
he didn't invent it.
He didn't invent it. He just named it. Gravity always existed. But, it was finally given a label, right? You have always existed. What are your labels? Right? So think about the labels that you put on yourself. Label yourself correctly.
So as you're sitting with your families and enjoying your holiday season, we hope that you are more hopeful, have more faith, and have
Believe
more
in-
control over your stories.
Your stories, yourself, your traditions, your
You
hope,
get to
your
choose.
faith. You get to choose. And I know we talk about some heavy stuff, and I know it's Christmas Eve, but I feel like this is something that somebody out there needs to hear.
So if you are listening, this is meant for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're watching, this is meant for you. Just got goosebumps for you.
Right.
You need this too.
You need this
Oh
too.
man. So next week, Can you believe we'll be going into the end of the year?
Oh my gosh.
Can
It
you
has
believe
come so quickly, and I'm so excited about everything we have going on between now and the end of January, as well as into the next year.
So don't miss a beat. Follow us on all the places.
Mhm.
And if there's some places you would like to see us showing up, just let us know. We're always open for constructive and positive growing feedback because we are growth oriented.
Yep. And next Wednesday, we will be with Leslie Rochelle on the 29th for a live broadcast on our
So we'll be back
Facebook.
live next week.
Woohoo,
And then on Friday, we will be doing
New Year's Eve.
goal setting with Allie Jean. And we will also be having a New Year's Eve party. So hopefully you're already over there.
Mhm.
And
January 3rd, Women Empowering Women E-Summit with Allie Jean from Visibility U. We're so excited to be part of that. We are the second speakers for that event. We hope you join us, and all those links and things will be in the description and contacts and things below. So come join us.
so next week, when you go to listen to the podcast, at the beginning of the week, we want you to pop over to YouTube. And on YouTube, you will find the reading for the week from the Path to the Yoga Sutras. So in order to keep our time more compact,
Compact,
and still provide as much value as we can in a short amount of time. If you pop over there, we will be posting a video of Charlie right now reading to us. And this is great because then you can listen to it. And sometimes the words are so big that our brains need to hear it a couple of times to understand some of these things. So this is going to be a great tool and gift to the community. So we're just
and I might even go back and record the previous chapters separately for you to listen to as well. So join us over on the YouTube channel for all the fun adventures.
And then we'll be discussing them during the normal podcast time. So we're not totally taking that away from the podcast, a lot like we did just today. All right.
And that brings us down to
join the email newsletter subscription in our link tree.
We've got some really exciting training and goal setting training coming up that we'd like you to be part of. We're hashing out the final details and things this week, and fine-tuning it next week, making sure everything's good to go. We'd love for you guys to join us, but join the newsletter to hear the latest on all the details for that.
We want to say thank you to Warrior Yoga, to Heather Ross Ambassador, Hema Forge Virtual Gaming,
and Studio 5 Glam for our beautiful locks and helping us feel beautiful this holiday season. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you to Chris and to Alex over there at Studio Glam. So be sure to follow us on social media at Women in Leadership, BSMB, and download and listen to us in your favorite podcast location.
If you're interested in being part of our podcast or becoming a sponsor, please shoot us an email at womeninleadershipbsmb@gmail.com. We'll send you all the information from there. We're looking forward to connecting and building relationships with more community leaders.
That's you. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. Without you, this wouldn't be the same. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Namaste.